Kakadosh Boker Or Masechet Chullin Daf Yomi Daf Kavav 26. Okay, we're doing today Daf 26. We're going to start with Kavav Amud Aleph 26a1. Says the Gemara, right? Ve'amar Rav Nachman Amar Rav Avua. Says Rav Nachman in the name of Rabbi Bar Avua. We're in the third line. Yeah. So says the Gemara, Amar Rav Nachman Amar Rav Avua, we're talking now Temed. Temed shelo ichmitz, shelekacho bekesef maaser ulvasof ichmitz. So remember, the temed is that they take water and they soak the grapes inside of that water. He bought it he was mechalel in it with maaser shani. Remember, maaser shani is money on the years. Doctor, maaser shani? Chazak Baruch, years 1, 2, 4, 5, maaser shani. Years 3, 6, maaser ani. So what happened was he takes money of maaser shani, which is the second 10%, and then al-vasof ichmitz became ichmitz, right? Became the yain. So what happens? Kanam maaser. So it's going to be now, right? Maaser shani. Okay, my tama. What's reasoning? Because it comes out that the fact that it was machmitz, so this was actually yain. Ela matzliti diktani, but our mishnah that says ichmitz in lo ichmitz lo, that only if it was ichmitz yes, and if not not. Maybe if he's going to leave it there, it would have also become a machmitz. Also the same thing. So answers the Gemara Maraba, you left a little bit of it in a cup, and it did not become the yain. Okay, so that's the first answer of Rabbi. Rava comes and he says, Hamani, who is this? Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. Tetanabas, we learned in the Mishnah, Shlosha lugim mayim chaser kortov. When you have 3 lugin of water, which is water shilvim, water's in a pitcher. So you got 3 lugs, right? Now chaser kortov, which is lacking a little bit. If you want to make it very, very simple, every log, according to the Chazonish, I'm just giving you Chazonish just because it's easier, right? Every log is going to be 600 milliliters. So 600 milliliter lefi Chazonish. Okay, lo lefi agrachnai. Lefi agrachnai is kimat chetzi, right? So he comes and he says, so if you're going to have 600 milliliter lelog, so 3 login is going to be 1.8, right, liters. Ken 1.8 liters. So chaser kortov, so to mean chaser mamash ktsat. Yeah, mamash something very small. So what happens? Nafal tocho kortov yain. You've got this kortov of yain that comes, and it's mashlim that shlosha lugin. Okay? Now what happens? He comes and he says, yeah, like this. Chaser kortov shenafal tocho kortov yain, umarehen kimare yain. And the marehen, no, קודם כל יין. קודם כל, yeah, שנפל לתוכו כתוב יין, ומראיין כמראה יין, ונפלו למקווה, and it comes into a mikveh. לא פסלו, it doesn't make it pasul, right? Why? He says over here like this, because at the end of the day, that means even though this was mashlim to the 40 seah, right, it's going to be kosher. Right? So he comes and he says, that means as long as you're going to be mashlim for 40 seah, it's going to be kosher. Okay? Now he comes and he says this. That means basically, even though these shlosha logim are not posel, so all you have to do is just make sure that you fill up the mikveh 40 seah, and it's kasher. Shlosha logim mayim chaser kortov chalav, but if it was chalav that fell inside, umarein kimane mayim, and it looks like mayim, v'naflu lemikveh, and it goes into the mikveh, right? Lo paslu. Right? Now here, it also doesn't make it pasul. Now why? He says, even though it looks like water, it's still not posel the mikveh. Why? You don't have the shlosha lugim of mayim shuvim. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri says, no. Hakol olech achar mareh. Everything goes according to the mareh. The first case was yain, and it looks like wine. So the fact that it looks like wine, so therefore it's going to be kosher. The second case, it looks like water, so it's posel. So it says the Gemara, Lava Rav Yochanan batar chazuta zinan. So we go after the chazuta. Chazuta is we go after the appearance. So too, we should go after the appearance. The tama chazuta dehai mayaninu. But he says, but one second, the tam and the mar'eh is of water, right? So pliga the Rabbi Eliezer, and this Rabbi Lazar. This argues on Rabbi Lazar. Tamar Rabbi Lazar, kol modim, everyone admits she'en mafrishim alav makom acher. You're not going to be mafrish from another place, unless it's going to become yain. So kasavar he holds. Belo ichmitz is machloket. Ve'al kan lo mechayev Rabbi Yehuda la minei ubei. It's only going to be minei ubei. Aval me'alma, right? But normally, Lo, not, you're not going to separate it. Maybe you're going to separate from the chiyuv to the ptur. And from the ptur to the chiyuv. Okay? Until here we're clear? Okay. Tanu Rabbanan. So we learned in the Braita. Hatemed ad shelo ichmitz. The temed. Until it did not become ichmitz. Right? Kavav mubet. Yeah. תמד זה כשאתה לוקח את החרצנים ואתה שורה את זה במים. ענבים. Okay? משיקו במים. כבב ומבט, 26b. So you're going to come and you're going to put it in a kli, and you're going to put it to do inside of a mikveh. So mishichmitz and mashiko b'mayim. So once it became the temen, it became wine. So therefore you cannot come and purify it with hashaka to the mea mikveh. Right? Why? Because now nothing else is going to be batel to the mikveh, because ta'am is not batel. So Amar Rava says, Doshanu ela shetimado b'mayim teorim. If you do it in pure water, but nitmeu, if it becomes tameh, right? Right, v'nitmeu, and then it became tameh. Aval tmei mi'ikara, but if it was tameh from the beginning, it's not going to be nitar b'hashaka. Meaning like this, there's such a thing as hashaka. Everyone knows what hashaka is? What hashaka is that, for example, what they do, I'm going to have hashaka, I've got a bor zriya. I've got a pit where I have the water coming in. The rainwater comes in. It's kosher water. Then I have water from the sink, from the tap. I open up the tap. Right? If I do hashaka, it connects the two and it purifies both. That means even though on this side I'm going to have water, which is rainwater, which is from tap water, instead of rainwater, I did hashaka. Hashaka is mutar. He says hashaka only helps. He says if it was kosher and then it became tameh. If it was tameh from the beginning, you don't say it's going to become tahor b'hashaka. Azal Rav Givia, right? Mi Bekatil. So Rav Gavia came from Bekatil, that was his name. Amra lishmata kamed Ravashi, he said this in front of Ravashi. Maishna tmi'in mi'ikara delo. Why do I say tmi'in from the beginning that it's not going to be help anymore with hashaka? Because I'm going to say that the water, right, in the temet is more heavier, right, and it's going to go to the bottom. Upera kafe mileel, and therefore the chilek of the pri is going to go to the top. Veloka salkelu hashaka lamayin, it's not going to have hashaka. Yachiv so. Teorim also. Ulvasov nitmeunami, the same thing. Ela mivalbele. But rather it's going to be murvavim yachad. So achanam mivalbele, so too it's going to be murvavim biyachad. This is going to do with science. Many times in the liquids, certain liquids, right, because of the density, it goes on the top or on the bottom. Correct? So for example, you've got water and oil. So the water is heavier, correct, than the oil. So since the water is heavier than oil, so therefore it goes to the bottom. And therefore it doesn't kilo mix. Right? So the same thing when you have wine and water. What's heavier? The wine. Exactly. So, but here he says though that the water is more heavier than the temed, right? Than the chartzanim. So therefore he comes and he says, right, it goes to the bottom, and the pri goes to the top, meaning the parts of the fruits of the grapes are going to go to the top, and the water is on the bottom. So therefore he says it doesn't do hashaka. So then at the end he says, yeah, but it does mix up. And that's why many times you do have things. The same thing I think they say with hot water and cold water, correct? What's heavier? I remember there's a whole thing about that. Mishnah, Kavav Mubet, says the Mishnah. Okay, this is the first Mishnah. There's 3 of them on the page. Okay, Mishnah. Kol makom sheyesh mecher en knas. Kol makom sheyesh knas. Sorry, en mecher. What does that mean? Anytime that you're going to have the father's zechut that he could sell the daughter, so therefore he doesn't have the zechut of the knas to receive if the daughter was violated or seduced, right? Because there's no knas, right? In any place where there is going to be the zechut for the father for the knas, so therefore he doesn't have the zechut to sell her. So let's see what's going on. Amar Rav Yehuda Marav says Rav. These words are Rabbi. Chachamim come and say, Yesh knas b'mkom mecher. There is knas even though there's mecher. What does that mean? The Talmud went to the right. Ktana. Meaning, a father could sell his daughter from the day that she's born until she has 2 pubic hairs. He could sell her. Ve'en la knas, right? And there's no knas. What does that mean? Right? That means if she's going to be violated or seduced, there's no knas. The second that she has two pubic hairs, until she becomes a bogeret, that means 12 to 12, 12 and a half. Yesh la knas, right? She does have a knas, ve'en la mecher, right? And there's no mecher. Divrei Rabbi Meir, these words are Rabbi Meir. Shaya Rabbi Meir Omer, Rabbi Meir used to say, Kol makom sheyesh mecher and knas. Any place where there's a mecher, there's no knas. Right? V'chol makom sheyesh knas and mecher. Chachamim unim, no, ktana, bat shalosh yom echad, ad shetibaker, yesh la knas. There is going to be a knas. Right? That means even from 3 years and above. Right? Because under 3 years is nothing, but 3 years and above is called a knas. Okay? So says the Gemara, knas in, mecher lo. Are you going to tell me now the knas? Yes, mecher lo. So it says, no. Ema af knas bimkom mecher. There's also knas, right, in the place of a mecher as well. Which means the chachamim come and they say from 3 years old until the pubic hair, until she becomes a bogeret, there is a knas. Okay? Fine. Next. Kavav Amud Bet, the Mishnah. Kol makom sheyesh mi'un en chalitza. V'chol makom sheyesh chalitza en mi'un. Any place where there's mi'un, there's no chalitza. Any place that there's chalitza, there's no mi'un. Amar Rav Yamarav, Zod Divrei Rabbi Meir, this is Rabbi Meir. Chachamim say yesh mi'un mimkom chalitza. There is mi'un even in a place of chalitza. Right? That means when she's going to be a na'ara. Okay? That means she could come and she could do mi'un. Okay? Mi'un just means that she says, I don't want the marriage. And that she could only do it that she could only do mi'un if it was the brother or the mother marrying her off. Okay? So he says over here, right, the Tanya mataya bat mimayenet at shetavish te sarot, until she has two pubic hairs, divir mean, Rabbi Yehuda omer, no, al shirbeh shachor lavan, until she has more black hairs, right, than skin. Meaning that she has to have a lot of pubic hairs, not just stam a little bit. She has to have more black than white, than basically than skin. Okay? Fine. Next. Kol makom sheyesh tekiya, en avdala. Kol makom sheyesh avdala, en tekiya. Right? So any place where there's going to be Shabbat and Yom Tov right beside each other. So they used to do the shofar to be mvatel, to be mavdir ben kodesh lechol. So he comes and he says, Kol makom sheyesh tekiya, there's no avdala. They don't do avdala in the tefillah, in the kos. But if there's going to be avdala, so then there's no tekiya. Yom Tov shechal yo berev Shabbat. If Yom Tov falls out on Erev Shabbat, tokim, they used to do tekiya, but they were not doing avdala. But on Motzei Shabbat, they used to do avdala, but they didn't do tekiya. How do you do Avdala? Right, that's what we do until today. Right, we say Amavdim ben Kodesh leKodesh. Rabbi Dosa Omer ben Kodesh Chamur leKodesh Kal. We don't know between Kodesh Chamur to Kal. So says the Gemara, Heichi Tokea, how do you do the Tkiya? Amar Rav Yehuda Tokea Omeria mitoch Tkiya. You do Tkiya, right, and then you do Trua within the Tkiya, which means, right, before you do the Tkiya, you're going to do the Trua first. Okay? So he says, Vravasi Amar, Tukea Omeria ben Ishima Achat. You're going to do it in one breath. Right? You're going to do Tukea Omeria. But on other Arvei Shabbatot, you do it in 2 breaths. So Atkin, Ravasi, Vultzal Kishmateh. So Ravasi went and he instituted just like what he did. Like what he said, like a Shita. Right? That it has to be ben Ishima Achat. So Meitvei, so they ask the following question. Yom Tov Shechal Yot Berev Shabbat. If Yom Tov comes out on Erev Shabbat, Tokim Velo Meriin, you're going to do Tukea, not Trua. My lover, we're not talking about that you're not going to do Trua at all. Says no. Rav Yehuda metaretz tameh. Each one is going according to his reasoning. Ravasi metaretz tameh. Rav Yehuda metaretz tameh. You don't do Trua by itself, but within the Tkiya. Ravasi says metameh b'shtei neshimot and neshima achat. Okay, that means that's going to be the difference between them. Now, if it comes out of Motzei Shabbat, Hechal malav, what do you say? Rav Yehuda said b'chatimata, meaning at the end you're going to say Amavdim ben Kodesh leKodesh. V'chein Rav Nachman b'chatimata. Rav Sheshem Rav Yehuda Amar b'chatichata, even at the beginning, but we don't go like that. Okay, that means basically we do it like this. We do like at the end. Amavdim ben Kodesh leKodesh. That's the bracha that we make. Rabbi Dosa Omer ben Kodesh Chamur leKodesh Kal. We don't pass like that. V'let yichata kavateh. So Amar Rabbi Zera says Rabbi Zera, Yom Tov shechal yo be'emtza Shabbat. When Yom Tov comes out in the middle of the week, Omer Amavdim ben Kodesh lechol. Ben Chosh ben Isalamim. When Yom Shvish Maaseh. My time out. What's reasoning? Seder Avdalot u'moneh. You're going and you're doing the Seder Avdalot which are brought down in the Torah. So the beginning, it's nothing to do with Avdalah between Yom Tov and Chol, but rather you're going to do other things that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was Mavdil. And we praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So therefore he says, also in the Avdalah, ben Yom Tov lechol, we're also going to be the same thing. All the Avdalot are brought down. Hamavdim Kodesh lechol is Vayikra Yod Yod. Or lechoshech is Bereshit Aleph Dalet. Ben Yisrael Lamim is Vayikra Kav Kavav. So the Siyum Ben Shvi Yoshet Maaseh is Ben Kodesh L'Chol. Again, is going back to the beginning of the bracha. So therefore, that's why we do it that way. That we do like all the different Havdalot which are brought down in the Torah. Hadran Allah Hakol Shochati.